Welcome to Oompaville, who asked for his oral presentations to be reviewed. He specifically called on that vegan teacher for a little bit of help. He indicated in his video that he would be willing to do a 7-day challenge, 7 days of trying to become vegan. Now, at first glance, one would think that's good, right? So let's give him a check mark. A check mark means good and an X means bad. So let's give him a check mark for, let's say, an indication that he's serious. But you know why he gets a big X? Because he has failed to understand the important thing that being vegan is not about food. It's not a diet. It is about animal liberation. I am an animal liberation activist. Myself and other true vegans care about the animals. Now, another thing that he said in his presentation is that vegans don't like me. And I don't give a fuck whether they like me or not, because I am not here to impress so-called vegans. Those people who call themselves vegans, including Russell Brand, your supposed hero, are not real vegans. All they do is eat lots of vegetables, unless they are fighting for the animals just as much as they would fight for any other living creature born in torture chambers where they are experiencing the Holocaust right now. If they are not fighting against those things, fuck them. Now, if you give a shit about the animals, you will follow my advice. And my advice is this: do not do any kind of diet. It's not a diet. You want to be vegan, you're interested in it, then you decide right now that you will do it for the rest of your life, because you have no right to steal the lives of others, to steal their eggs or their milk. You need to get that into your head. For years you have been taking things that don't belong to you. All you're going to do is stop being a meanie. Stop being an asshole. Just start being the good guy you were born to be, because you were born vegan. When you were first born and you plopped out of your mom's vagina, you didn't have a piece of meat in your hand. You had nothing. Maybe you were holding on to your own umbilical cord. I don't know. Maybe you're holding on to your own little penis. I don't know. But you were not holding on to a cheeseburger, I'll tell you that. And when you latched onto your mother's breast, assuming that she breastfed you, that milk was yours. If it's not your mother, it's not your milk. Stay away from any other milk. It's not yours. You can only have plant milks, because those are for everybody. So, you know who I'm here for? Myself and all true animal rights activists, vegan animal rights activists, are here for the trillions of animals. Billions, and it becomes trillions if you include all of the sea life that are dying, that are suffering because of our greed, because we think it's okay to steal from them. You have to get into this mindset that you are not going to steal. It's as simple as that. You've been taught not to steal from the time you were a little boy, right, Caleb? They told you don't steal. I'm going to assume that you're not going and shoplifting when nobody's looking and shoving candy bars and whatever down your jacket. I'm going to assume that you're a good guy. So if you know that stealing's wrong, then why is it that you think it is okay to steal the lives of others? Why is that? Because you've been brainwashed. Because you were taught at a young age. Speciesism is the first form of racism, and both of them are wrong. When we teach little children that it's okay to hurt animals, it's only a gradual stepping stone to teach them to hurt all other living beings as well, to different degrees, depending on where you live, and it's not okay. We need to have compassion for the animals, and it starts with you. We can blame the industries all we want, but the bottom line is they are not the ones who are deciding what goes in your shopping cart or on your fork. So stop stealing. So you get it to your head, I'm not stealing, I'm not stealing, I'm not stealing, and you're going down the rows of the grocery store, okay? So if you take cheese that comes from a mother who was raped and her milk was turned into that cheese, and her baby boys were stolen from her, kidnapped, and turned into veal, this terrible cycle of violence that is the dairy industry. If you're going to go for that cheese, that's stealing, so you don't go for that one, you go for the vegan cheese. If you're going to take a piece of steak like you seem to think you need, you don't need it. There are plenty of athletes who never eat any meat, and they're fine. They're not smarter or better than you. Well, I don't know. because I can't tell if you're a nice guy or not, but there's something about you that's okay. There's something about you that's at least curious. Yeah, you were mean to me, but there's some parts of you that show that. I think you've had a few of the clicks already. Out of 100 clicks, I think you've had a few. Because you, like I said, you seem to indicate that you understand that factory farming is wrong. So there might be some hope. Unlike that guy, John Robert Bell on TikTok, he's a fucking asshole. He'll never be vegan. He's a religious freak. That's not going to work. You, I don't know. I think you have the ability to stay popular on your channel if you're vegan. Because you're able to joke about things, I think you might be able to pull it off. And if you look up to Russell Brand, if it's gonna, because he's supposedly vegan, if that's gonna help you make you vegan, go for it. I don't give a fuck about the other vegans who say that they don't like me. I am here representing the trillions of other animals. They're behind me, they're in front of me, they're beside me, they're everywhere on the globe. I am the center of their universe. I am their representative. My job is not to make you vegan. My job is to tell them that, to go back to them and say, I tried my best to sound the alarm. That's why I have to do the crazy things I do. Do you think that I want to do all that stuff on TikTok? Don't you think I'd rather just say, hey, Caleb, you know what? Watch this little video here and you should be vegan. This little video. And you'll see why it's important to be vegan. That's what I want to do. I just want to talk to you nicely. But nice people don't get heard. Sadly.
Hi there. I'm a pig, and here's my story. You might expect that my life is like the pig in the movie Babe, full of playful moments with other animals, but that's not my story at all. My life started out rough, and it's only gotten worse. You see, just like nearly all pigs in the United States, I was raised on a factory farm. I was born on a hard, wet, urine-soaked floor with my 9 siblings. My mother was confined in a farrowing crate so tight that she couldn't even turn around.
Do you think you have the right to steal these pigs' freedom from them? Don't be a thief. Do not take something that doesn't belong to you.
She'd already gone through 5 pregnancies by the time I was born, and she's never had a single moment outdoors.
Do you think it is okay to violate a female? Do you think it is okay to force somebody to be pregnant without their consent? Do you think it's okay to masturbate a pig who is a male pig and take his sperm and force it into... I'm not good with the arrows. Gotta get... Not good with pointing. Force it into her. I'm not okay with it. And any supposed vegans who defend anything like this? Well, I already said what they can do.
When I was just a few days old, I was grabbed up by one of the humans. I squealed and kicked, but couldn't get away. He took some sharp clippers and cut off my tail.
Can you envision having a tail that's cut off? Now, when you see a dog waving their tail, does it seem to you like the tail has the ability to move and feel? Or is it just like a rock? Is it just non-living? For sure you can tell that the tail that's waving has nerve endings in it. Think of it as your finger. How would you like somebody to cut your finger off without anesthetic? How would you like that to have, if you had been born into this baby, this little innocent baby pig's body? You're just lucky you weren't. We need to have empathy. We should never do this to any baby boys. We should never cut them. Circumcision is wrong, and this is wrong. Empathy. Have empathy, Caleb.
Leaving only a tiny stub. Then he cut open my scrotum, tearing out my testicle.
No anesthetic. Just sit with it. Every single boy who's watching, every man who's watching, just sit with that. You have the privilege of being born in the body that you are in, and you have the absolute duty not just to be vegan, but to be a vegan animal rights activist. That is your job. Every man on earth should be standing up to say this is unacceptable.
Next, he forced open my mouth and cut the ends of my 2 teeth. And then he cut deep.
How would you like to have your teeth cut without anesthetic? Have you ever had a toothache? Did you ever have to have a filling? Can you imagine that we create these pigs, we breed them into existence, and then we torture them immediately when they're babies? To me, it is so despicable, I can't even wrap my head around it. It is absolutely traumatizing to know that this goes on. And that there are now all of these YouTubers coming out and saying that to them it's a big joke. It's horrific that so many grown men think it's okay to tell their viewers that this is okay. You have a responsibility to your audience. You have a responsibility to teach them the truth and to not laugh about this. That's my dare to you. Make a video response to this without making fun of this. For once. You can go back to joking about anything else, but not this topic. It's too serious, even if I don't know which way to point.
Notches into my ears. All of this happened without a drop of anesthetic. I felt every agonizing cut and tear.
So, is that the 4th way that they've tortured this baby?
And my case wasn't the least bit unusual. This is what's done to every piglet raised on a factory farm.
Every man out there who enjoys the role of being a protector. I know you do. At heart, men want to protect. And women too, don't get me wrong. I have a strong protective instinct when I see anybody being hurt. Do your job.
It wasn't long after that, when I was only 3 weeks old, that I was taken from my mother. She screamed as we were carried away, but it was no use. That was the last time that I saw her. I was taken to another building, and for the next 7 weeks, I was stuck in a terribly crowded pen with more than 20 other pigs. We walked around on slated concrete, and our waste fell through into a huge pit dug under the building.
No hay, no mother, sleeping on a concrete floor, no sunshine, no grass, their whole lives. That's what you pay for. And no, there's no such thing as local farms that do better. They all involve torturing these innocent animals.
You can imagine the horrible smelling fumes from all the manure and urine building up. After a few more traumatic location transfers, I was given a shot of something called ractopamine, which caused my body to start putting on more muscle. After 5 painful months on this earth, I already weighed more than 200 pounds. I was in terrible health. I had trouble breathing because the ammonia-choked air had eaten lesions into my lungs. But I could still walk when the men came, yelling at us, stabbing us with electric prods as we...
Would you like to be stabbed with an electric prod? Would you like it if somebody pinned you down and forced you to take some sort of drug that would force you to grow more than you are naturally supposed to? Because their intention is to eat you. Don't joke about it. Don't even fucking respond to this video if you're going to joke about it. Just don't. There's nothing funny about what's going on.
As we were hurried onto the truck. There were little holes in the side of the truck, and I had moments when I could see humans, warm in their neighboring cars, peering back into my eyes as we were trucked through the freezing cold. And that brings me to now. The truck just pulled up to a building, and I'm terrified. Each of us knows we've arrived at a bad, bad place. All the pigs around me are panicking. I feel a shock as a man shoves an electric prod into my back, and I fumble forward off the truck, landing in a pen. The gates open, and I desperately try not to go through it, but the men with prods force us forward into a chute. I land in a small chamber with several other pigs. The chamber lowers down, and our air turns to noxious gas. I frantically try to climb out and reach fresh air, but the horrible gas is inescapable. It hurts to breathe. We're all in agony, trying to get our noses up as high as possible to reach breathable air. One by one, we collapse in this gas chamber.
I'm a teacher. I'm supposed to be able to watch this and not get upset by it. But because of people like you, because I'm constantly teaching the same things over and over again, I am forced to keep watching this because you are too fucking lazy to watch it yourself. I have to spoon feed it to you, thereby traumatizing myself over and over again. But hey, go ahead. Keep making fun of me. Keep making fun of the animals.
After he passes out, his body is hoisted into the air by his leg and his throat is cut. The blood and life drains from his body. He's disemboweled, skinned, and then butchered for bacon and other cuts of meat that soon make its way to the grocery store, neatly packaged in cellophane with no indication of the life it once was. Too few of us consider the source of our food. Please remember that when we eat bacon, ham, sausages, and other pork products, our food had a face and a story. And that story didn't have a happy ending, a happy middle, or a happy beginning. We can help create a better story. We can create a story in which humans treat other animals with kindness rather than cruelty. By choosing vegan foods, we can prevent unimaginable amounts of cruelty and suffering and help build a kinder world for us all.
You asked for some resources and some reasons. The average person who has a heart will understand and get that, both up here and in here, that this is one click for them. Now, some of you watching, that may be the first time you saw that, and that might be the first click out of 100, and that's okay. It takes a long time to become vegan. You gotta understand it. You have to undo so much learning. For others who've been watching me and following me for the past, I've been on TikTok since I think it was March. For those of you who have stuck with me and are past the laughing stage, for you, this might be your 100th click. this will be for sure the day for somebody to become vegan. I have too many followers for it to not be. Every day, many, many people become vegan because of my activism. But like I said, my main reason here is to disrupt society and to make sure that you at least talk about the issue. All the other animal rights activists should step up. Every single one of them who sees a video done that makes fun of me should be counteracting and making their own videos to speak the truth, to say what actually happens. But so many of them are afraid. And who can blame them? Who wants to be laughed at? Who wants to be made fun of? Who wants all of these lies told about them? Apparently somebody has just now said something that I'm in jail for 10 years. Do you know how many people are going to believe that now? I can't even begin to tell you the amount of vegan phobia I have been through and I've experienced. Things that have happened to my home, the threats, the death threats. Is that all okay with you, Caleb? Or will you be one of the good guys who will say, that's not okay? Will you do one serious video where you say, that vegan teacher seems to be okay to me, instead of consistently making personal insults like everybody else? You asked for some information. Earthling Ed is a well-known animal rights activist. He has something called 30 Days, 30 Excuses. Please memorize this. earthlinged.org. earthlinged.org/30 excuses. Okay? Now this is for, let me read to you. I created this video series for vegans and activists across the world to use as a resource for both developing their knowledge on extensively used non-vegan arguments and also to link to non-vegans when needed. So you guys are non-vegans, but this is also for when you do become vegan. Caleb, if you do become vegan, you can use this as a resource to help you to answer all of the questions. Because the hard thing about being vegan is that everybody will constantly try to attack you. And what you can do then simply is just refer to them to this page. And yes, I'm finally pointing the right way, this page. All right. I have canine teeth, so I have the right to eat animals. Now, Caleb, you did at one point in one of your videos try to point at your teeth. And what did you do? You retracted, didn't you? Because you thought to yourself, wait a second, it's true. I don't really have any fangs. There's nothing on me that shows that I need or that I can possibly kill an animal with my bare hands or tear through their leather-like flesh. You couldn't do it. Okay, men of today, all they can do is go grocery shopping or kill with a weapon, like a gun. You couldn't kill an animal like that by yourself without another weapon. You're not like a lion who just uses their own body. Have a look at your claws while you're at it. Look down at your hands. Could you rip through flesh with that? No. I have canine teeth, so I have the right to eat animals. Well, you don't. But all of these videos are very short. They're very manageable. They're all about 3 minutes long each. Okay? All of these different myths. And you just keep go through them all. I would watch them all with you if I thought it would make a difference, but I don't know how serious you are. Okay? Of course, there's always the ridiculous things. What if a vegan was stranded on a desert island? Like, that happens every day. Yeah, that's so important to go over. You get the idea. And the ridiculous excuse that plants feel pain. People actually use this as an excuse. It's unbelievable how ignorant people are. You know what? Let's watch it for fun, shall we? Just for fun.
Why don't vegans care about the rights of plants? After all, they're alive too. Vegans murder plants. This is something that I hear all the time. It's funny because before I went vegan, I never considered that plants felt pain or had the ability to suffer. But since going vegan, it's something I'm told almost on a daily basis. If we look at the science just to begin with, plants have a brain, a central nervous system, and they don't have pain receptors, which means from a scientific point of view, they don't have the capacity to...
Caleb, are you still listening? Are you paying attention? Okay, I'm going to give you a check mark. But you get an X for your presentations. I give you 2, by the way, for both of your presentations because you said some pretty mean things there. And I want you to retract them.
Feel pain. If we consider the reason that humans and non-human animals have the ability to feel pain is so we can escape danger and avoid life-threatening situations. Plants can't do this. They can't evade danger and they can't escape life-threatening situations, which means from an evolutionary point of view, it would serve no purpose for them to feel pain. If we look at this from a creationist, religious point of view, why would a benevolent and compassionate God give plants the ability to suffer and feel pain when they can't escape? That doesn't sound like the action of an all-caring and all-loving God. I think part of where the confusion comes from is that plants are indeed alive and they do some incredibly amazing things, but they operate on a cellular level and they don't respond like animals do. You see, plants react but they don't respond, which means that the reason a Venus flytrap will close around a fly is not because they've consciously responded to the fly landing on them. It's because the fly has caused the pressure stimuli to have a reaction which causes the plant to close around the fly. Similarly, if you were to put a cigarette butt or rocks or anything onto a Venus flytrap, as long as you triggered that pressure stimuli, the flytrap will close around whatever object it is that you put on them. An animal, on the other hand, has a conscious response, which means that they won't just eat rocks because you put rocks in their mouth. They will respond to the fact that the rocks aren't food and they won't eat them. Another way to look at this is a doorbell. A doorbell will ring if you press the buzzer. Now, the reason the doorbell rings is not because it's conscious, it's because it's having a reaction to the fact that the doorbell has been pressed. Now, let's look at the ethics side of this argument as well, because I don't truly believe that anyone looks at the life of a plant and holds them in the same regard as the life of an animal. Ask yourself this question: if you were driving down the road and a dog ran out in front of your car, would you swerve onto a grassy verge to avoid killing the dog? If you would, then you yourself admit that the life of an animal has a higher moral value than the life of a plant. We also have to acknowledge that it takes up to 16 kilograms of plants to produce 1 kilogram of certain animal products, which means that vastly more plants are used in the production of animal products than they are vegan products, which means that vastly more plants are killed or murdered in the production of animal products than they are vegan products. So even if you truly believe that plants feel pain, they suffer, and they deserve to live just as humans or non-human animals do, then you should still be vegan, because by being vegan, it means that you're contributing to a lot less suffering to plants as well as animals.
So you get the idea. A lot of very short videos, easy to digest. All of these lies, veganism is unhealthy. It's not. It's my personal choice. No, it's not your personal choice because there's a victim involved. Talking about religious things and all kinds of reasons. Lastly, you asked for a resource. Now, here's something called Challenge 22, challenge22.com, challenge22.com, write it down. And here you can become vegan. This will give you all the help that you need. It's about, you basically fill out a form. It is free. You will get all the help that you need online. You'll be in a group. You sign up either through Facebook or through, I think it's email, and it talks about everything. You have access to clinical dietitians. It's free. So I have given you all that you need here. What I want you to do is this, Caleb. I want you to sign up for Challenge 22. I want you to follow all the steps, like actually follow them. Do what they tell you to do. Read the articles and watch the videos that they suggest. All right? There's no reason why you can't do that. And then come back and do a video, but only if you've decided to become vegan. Otherwise, I don't want to hear from you. You're not welcome in my class. If you're just here to joke around, you're kicked out. If you want to be serious about what I'm here to teach, you're more than welcome. I would love it. So I've given you the reasons to be vegan. It's for the animals because you have no right to steal. So I've given you the why, and I've also given you the how to do it. I think that's the end of the lesson, don't you? Eating animals is wrong, Oompaville Caleb. Hurting animals is wrong, Oompaville Caleb. Share this song and change your entire attitude to be vegan from now on. Now get to work.